Welcome to United Hour, your official Red Cafe podcast for all things Manchester United. I'm your host, Nick.
I'm Colm.
And I'm Imran.
Three of us convening here, straight, an hour or so after the game, so I had a little bit of time to digest it. It wasn't that much to digest, maybe, but yeah, look, at the end of the day, it's 3 points, and I know I actually thought it was a pretty decent performance, even though I saw a lot of comments around saying, oh, same old again, same old problems, but I thought we actually played better than we have done recently, and just the same kind of issues. It was 0-0 at half time, but it wasn't anywhere near as bad as kind of several other games we've had recently. I mean, are you on that kind of line, Colm?
A wee bit, although I was actually pretty happy throughout. I thought, when you're playing a team as packed in as Moyes as West Ham came in today, it can't be full throttle all the way, and there will be times where players have to sit on the ball a wee bit and kind of think about things before making a pass. There isn't just always an obvious pass, and you should have a look around sometimes. I thought generally across the 11 there was a very good energy and attitude tonight, which is one of the things that I think has been lacking sometimes, where it just doesn't look like anyone wants to make those little dirty runs or kind of play in combination or inject energy into the game, because it can't just be 100 all the time. You have to pick the moment to inject that little bit of movement or that little bit of good play, and I thought we actually did that pretty well throughout. It's just tough sometimes when you're playing against a very good defensive team who've decided to play completely negatively. But I was pretty pleased throughout. I have to say, I didn't think it was bad at all.
Yeah, I mean, they obviously came and actually set up super defensively. Pre-match, I was kind of, I'd been worried all along about this fact of that we've played midweek, they've not played. But yeah, they were missing Lingard, which was actually a big bonus for us. They could see they actually missed him a lot, and because he was out there, they came in with an extra defensive midfielder, Noble. Even went a kind of 5-man defense. So yeah, they were like fully parking the bus. We had all these kind of injury issues, and we weren't really sure who was going to be available. In the end, Rashford has rolled out. I mean, he can't have been 100%, but Ole's obviously decided to throw him in there anyway. Imran, were you happy with the performance?
I mean, first and foremost, 3 points were the most important thing, really. Just the fact that we won was the main thing here. Performance kind of secondary for me. I thought we were all right. I thought West Ham were a shambles, to be honest with you. To set up like that, I thought was just ridiculous. And I mean, you can get into Moyes' fallbacks and the problems with his management style all you want, but that was, I mean, I'd be really disappointed if I was a West Ham fan coming here. What, the fourth?
Well, they were.
Fifth, whatever. Top 4 ambitions. And we're severely understrengthed. I mean, you look at our bench today, you've got Rashford, who's probably, his shoulder and ankle are probably gaffer taped on at this point. I just think it was crazy, their approach. And considering that, yeah, I mean, there was a couple of things that irked me about our performance. It wasn't like a thrilling performance or anything, and we have our usual, we kind of do struggle when a team sits back like that. We look a bit clueless at times, but overall, we created a couple of chances, which is more than you can say in a lot of games we have. And the main thing, we got the 3 points, and I wasn't absolutely petrified in the last 5 minutes, so that's something new.
Yeah, I think that was the main thing for me that was better, was that we did create enough chances to say we were worthy of winning this game, and really it should have been more comfortable. I don't think it would have been too much for us to score 2 or even 3 over here today. And West Ham, I think, hardly even had a shot on target in the whole match.
Well, yeah, we weren't hanging on either at all. I don't think we were hanging on at any point.
There was a period. There was a couple after the goal, around the 65th minute
we scored,
mark, and they made the 2 substitutions. Berahino and Lanzini came on. I can't believe one of them didn't start. Given
crazy.
I just couldn't believe it. But when they came on, I think there was a period where we really failed to adjust between dominating to actually the other team trying to play football, and it really seemed to, it seemed to have gotten into such a pattern of us just having total dominance on the ball and them offering so little up front that when they actually were able to do a bit more, it seemed to shock our players, so that we looked a little bit leggy. But as everyone says, we got a hold of it. We should have scored more goals on the break, and actually in the last 10-15 minutes it was very comfortable.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the way it goes. And the most vital thing about this is, like you say, West Ham are the team in 5th at the moment. that win now puts us 9 points ahead of 5th place. And I know you two guys did a podcast after that very disappointing performance not too long ago when we were on a bad run of form. We hadn't scored for 3-4 matches. And, all of a sudden there was worry about where we were at in the whole top 4 race. But like I say, this puts us 9 points clear of 5th place. They do actually have a game in hand. So, yeah, all right, potentially it could be 6 points. But, yeah, you start feeling a bit more comfortable. And, yeah, we need those 3 points as well because Leicester are starting to play again after dropping off a bit. And, last 2 weeks we've gone into our matches actually in 3rd place, needing to get a result to get back into 2nd place. So, yeah, it is a really, really good result at the end of it.
Yeah, that's it. The 3 points were the essential thing. And plus, especially with our injury list, it's pretty extensive, especially up front. So 3 points, very happy.
That is the big, yeah. I mean, Ole post-match says that he's hoping to have players back for the next game. I mean, we didn't record after Milan, so we will kind of touch on that on this pod as well. But of course, we're previewing the return leg coming up on Thursday. And maybe he's hoping to say, I think he said in training, he is expecting to have Cavani, Pogba, Van der Beek, even Martial, all at least training in the next few days. And then, yeah, we have to see who's available after that. But yeah, that is the biggest problem. I remember saying at the start of this month of March that it's going to be the vital month of our season. We were playing obviously West Ham, City, and then several cup games. So we're now going into the last 2 games off this kind of run versus Milan and Leicester, both cup matches. And yeah, look, if Ole's managed to navigate us through, keeping us around 2nd place and keeping us in both those competitions, then you've got to say he's done a damn good job getting through there, right, Colm?
Yeah, definitely. I think they're both basically knockout ties now at this point, with the Milan result, obviously, which was a little bit, quite disappointing, really, to be honest. But in a sense, it's maybe not the worst thing in the world because we know what we have to do now. So it becomes a one-off game. We just have to win, and that's fine. So I'm quite looking forward to that. And as you say, if we go through against Milan and we beat Leicester, I think that's an exceptional month of March. And as you say, a really another feather in Ole's cap in terms of progressing on all 3 fronts. And because it looked like that might be an issue, as we alluded to after some disappointing results. But the City game and a very tricky West Ham fixture have really steadied that ship. And hopefully the Milan result is just a blip in this month, because if he does get the 2 wins, I think that's an extremely good month of football. And you'd take a lot of confidence into the run-in,
Yeah, that Milan goal is the only one we've conceded now in 6 matches. Which is pretty impressive running. That's 4 Premier League clean sheets in a row. Yeah. I mean, obviously there was a lot of focus on our lack of goals in some of those matches, which is fair. But yeah, that's definitely something to be proud of. And yeah, there has been a lot of question marks even from us about our defence, especially that kind of about Lindelof place and whatever all through the season. But yeah, you can't really argue with that at the moment. It's just been more of the issues being the other end. And even today, look at half time, we're going in 0-0 and there's a lot of people saying, oh, what's going on? But the only problem today was there wasn't really much to change. There's often people throwing out, let's take this guy off, let's bring him on, let's do this, let's do that. But today you kind of looked at the bench and you're like, well, what are we going to do anyway? I mean, yeah, maybe you might throw Ahmad in there, but is he going to do anything that much different to what James is trying? Not really sure. So yeah, you just said, look, we'll keep going and hopefully we'll get the breakthrough. And thankfully, yeah, it came relatively early and makes a big difference to how that second half plays out. As you mentioned, Colm, like Moyes actually makes that move pretty early to bring on Lanzini and Benrahma, and it changes the game from there. And yeah, it's kind of quite disappointed in a way that we don't really get another goal after that. I do want to just talk about McTominay, because all right, I know he's given away as an own goal today, but he has tended to be the one who, after the likes of Bruno and Rashford, whose goals we've been so reliant on, he's kind of third in the list. All right, Pogba has had a few vital goals as well. But yeah, McTominay's kind of goals, even though, all right, this one goes down an own goal, but it is coming from him, have really made the difference so many times.
I don't think he touches it, does he?
I think he did.
I think he does.
I don't think
he's touched it. I've not had a look at who the official assist goes to, but I thought he did touch it.
It didn't go to Bruno. I know that much, so it must be McTominay or no one sometimes to do.
Yeah, I'm pretty certain he does at least get a touch on it. And I say it's several times now, though, like just that his goals have really made the difference. And as we've talked about, how our strikers have not been scoring, especially Martial, Greenwood, just have not been doing enough. Then at the end, it's come down to the likes of Pogba, McTominay, and then James recently have been the only extra ones who've come in and scoring those goals for us. And that has been the biggest issue for us all season, really.
Yeah, definitely. And like I thought McTominay was very good again today. I think to touch on your point about those clean sheets, I think the fact that we haven't had Pogba available and we're playing either Matic and Fred alongside McTominay for a lot of the stretch, I mean, creates an extremely solid base. We know that. I think teams find it very hard to play against that midfield. The constant issue is, do we think that that's, a good enough midfield to go out and dominate games and play the kind of attacking football that we want? It's great to be solid, but at Man United, there's an expectation that, you go out and win games and you play good football. So it sometimes falls down in that respect, although, again, that's due to the ravaged front line that we have also. But I think McTominay has been extremely good this season. I mean, 7 goals in all competitions is definitely nothing to be sniffed at. I thought today he was a lot of long balls that have really sharpened up. He's dropped the balls over the top into Rashford on several occasions and switching the play. I still think he has a very heavy touch sometimes and can look a bit cumbersome and agricultural in the middle more than you would like. I think a few times he sort of was overplaying with Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and that was not a good partnership throughout the game. But I think he's brilliant. I think he has just such a good mentality. I just think he'll grow and grow and grow. He's only got 80 appearances, professional appearances at this level. Like Declan Rice, who's 2 years younger than him, has 120. I was looking at today just because I think they're quite an interesting duo to kind of look at. And I just see him continuing to grow into that side and become even more of an essential player than he already is. I know there's still people who don't think he's good enough on the ball for Manchester United, but I just think you have to look at the whole package, really, and the growth as well. Because I do see him, if not a starter, being an essential squad player for years to come. I think he's fantastic.
Yeah, I think
what I would say is, sorry, I just wanted to say, I do feel like one of him or Bruno needs to get in the box a bit more, especially in a game like today. You got Fred. I think Fred should be the one just to kind of sit back, and then they both, like Bruno and Fred, both like to occupy that space outside. Not Bruno and Fred, sorry, Bruno and McTominay both to occupy that space just outside the box. I think with like McTominay should make more late runs into the box. I think he's quite good at it. Like his shooting's really good. His heading's good. He needs to make more late runs.
He likes to play down that. He likes to play
more attacking, especially.
He really likes to play down that right hand channel, kind of in between striker and winger and fullback, and occupy some really nice spaces. And when he does go into the box, he always has quite a nice touch, and he uses his body really well, and he tends to bring players in very well. And we've seen how good his kind of snap shooting is this season as well. So I agree. I just want to see more of it. I think sometimes he's too inclined to sit back beside his partner, and it makes us very flat and kind of lacking in a bit of movement. But I agree. I think you'll get more out of it. I think he'll just continue to kind of realise that and give you more of that.
Yeah, and there has been some criticism on Ole of playing that McFred partnership. A lot of people say it's too defensive. But yeah, I mean, in the last month, he actually really hasn't had any other options. Pogba's been out, Van der Beek's been out. Okay, Matic comes in now and again, but he's obviously no more attacking than either of them. So yeah, they've had a really good run. And yeah, look, we know what the deficiency is. It's always on the creative side, but I think both of them do more than make up for it in other ways. And the only thing then is the whole creative burden then does go on 2 or 3 other players. When they're not delivering like we had against whether it's West Brom, Palace, that's when the problem comes. But today, we have made enough goals. The XG puts us at 1.7. So I actually thought that we were worthy of at least 2 goals today. The one I do want to focus on again as well is Mason Greenwood. So he's had another game up front. A lot of people think that his best position should be number 9. So he's had a chance with Martial injured, Cavani out. He's played a few times there now, whereas, coming into this season, especially, he'd exclusively played on the right side. And in the first half of the season, he was still mostly playing over there. Then in, the last kind of few months, he's had quite a few chances now up front. And he hasn't scored enough goals. Today he gets a post. There was also a very good save in the first half, Fabianski off him. How are you feeling about where Greenwood's at now, Imran? Do you think he should just be playing number 9? Or, and just generally, there is a problem. Not enough goals, not enough assists from him this season at all.
I mean, I thought Mason had probably one of his better games for a while today. Actually, I thought he was really good up front. In general, I'm one of the few who don't mind him on the right. Well, I say one of the few. I'm sure lots of people don't mind. I don't mind him on the right. Mainly because obviously we don't have anyone else, and he is just a quite neat and tidy player, and he can use his right foot and left foot. But I think the problem with him up front at the moment is he's just not scoring those goals. But I guess if nobody else is, it's a bit of a problem when your number 9 is. But then again, our other number 9 options are Martial, who can't really rely on a goal for, and Cavani, who's a bit hit and miss as well. So, I mean, yeah, why not? It's not like we're spoilt for choice up there. And I thought, like, today he had a good game, bit more luck, and he scores a goal or two. I thought his link-up was nice. I do think he sometimes spends a bit too much time outside of the box for a number 9. And then when we just have nobody else making runs or getting across, we must have put in about 4 or 5 balls into decent positions today, and there's either one person sort of near it or just nobody anywhere near it. Like the runs into the box from us are just terrible. Rashford kind of was hanging out on his left hand side, didn't really penetrate back from that one. The one time he did, he got a header and he should have scored. Bruno, for some reason, was quite ambly today. He'd run around like a madman off the ball, but when he was on the ball, he wasn't busting a gut to like get into the box. Again, the one time he did do it, he nearly got on the pass of Rashford. So I don't know. I just felt like with Greenwood out, we need people to support him in there, and we just didn't have
Greenwood,
that.
I mean, I see that lack of goals and assists. It doesn't concern me in the slightest in the minutes he's had. Not in the slightest. I mean, we know how good of a finisher he is. I don't think anyone should be in any doubt of that. Even in these games where he hasn't been scoring assisting, and today being the absolute epitome of it, he's had 2 chances that, fair enough, the second one he can probably do a wee bit better. The first one he does everything right, and you wouldn't want anyone else in our team on the end of those chances. I think most people would still say that. So I see no issue with that. The thing that I've seen this year is him through just getting minutes in the first team. Yes, okay, it's come down after his kind of explosion onto the scene last year, scoring those 14 or 15 goals, whatever it is. But we've seen that with every single young player. That's just the way it goes. Teams spend more time looking at him, defend him more, and there's that natural fall off when you just kind of get comfortable in the team. But throughout this year, I've just seen him become more and more comfortable in the kind of adult game and at the top level. He just looks now like he so much belongs. His all-around play, his hold-up play, his strength is getting there. He's so economic with the football, I think, his little touches, and just whips the ball around extremely nicely. Delivers great crosses again. Imran just touched on. Should have had an assist for the Rashford goal. Whipped a few good balls across the box. And his dribbling as well is so good. He's so capable of beating a man, but it's not through kind of excessive skills and things like that, like Rashford kind of does, when there's nothing wrong with that, but it's economical. He just does what he needs to do with his body movement and his dribbling to go one way and get that shot in, or go one way and get the cross in. I just think he's so obviously brilliant, and I honestly, I think it was like 2014, 2015 where Kane came back to Spurs and they just played him all the time, and everyone was kind of like, not really sure about this. He got 51 starts and ended up scoring 30 goals by the end of the year, and you just have to give your visibly brilliant young player the time, because he will not become a brilliant number 9 playing right wing for us. He will become wasted. That is what will happen. He's not a right winger. He's not a left winger. He's not a 10. He's a number 9 all day and every day, and he should just be played there. I appreciate it's difficult at a big club to kind of go through the pains of a young player sometimes, particularly in such a key position. But like, in my opinion, he will just so clearly be worth it and be a player you can build a team around for a long, long time, that it's a no-brainer. I would start him at number 9 pretty much every game he's fit, and everyone else can pick up the cup games.
Yeah, and at the moment, we haven't really got any other options anyway. I mean, like I say, Rashford could play over there. But yeah, look, he's getting the chances. And there is a big question mark about our kind of, long-term number 9 position. There's been some talk about whether Cavani stays. Martial's not had a good season. A lot of talk, of course, about the likes of Haaland. So yeah, it's definitely a position in the summer where there's going to be something looked at. On his general play, as people who listen to the podcast regularly one of my favourites is passing accuracy stats, and he's actually at 95% today, which for somebody playing centre forward is very impressive. Like, you rarely see
95% pass and hit the woodwork twice, created 2 big chances. I mean, like, you can't, apart from those goals going in, and one is an absolute wonder save from Fabianski. Like, it was an amazingly good performance today, and that's against a very tough, it's a Diop, and the likes of Cresswell and Kufal and Declan Rice sitting in there, that's not an easy West Ham team to play against. I just really don't think Martial would have shown as much.
Yeah, and then
throwing shade on Craig Dawson.
I really dislike Craig Dawson, and I didn't appreciate him today either, diving around our penalty box, so he's not getting a mention from me, Imran, you're right. And, well, in fairness, he did score the only goal of the game, so fair play to Craig.
He did.
Just to say, I can confirm that McTominay did get the assist there, so he did get a touch on it.
I love how he celebrated, by the way. That's my goal.
Yeah, exactly. He started pointing to himself, his own face. Yeah,
as if no one has a TV.
That's how you know
Definitely
he has got a touch. He's not going to do anything if he hasn't had some kind of flick off on it. But yeah, today actually, I think in terms of like passing accuracy, it's actually one of our best games of the season. Like even the likes of Bruno are up at like 85%.
Bruno was quite conservative today, I thought, and spraying the ball about nicely, but not really going mad like he normally does in terms of the through balls.
Well, I don't know if it's something from instruction or what, because, we've had those games where it hasn't worked out. So maybe there's been some instructions to change it up a little bit. And today it's worked out. When you have those teams that sit in, it is a bit pointless to start going for those same balls the way you're going. Bruno often goes for that first time. He was always going for it. But if there's like 5 defenders and, one striker up there, it's a bit pointless. So, yeah, I think some credit has to go because, we do not see our team where nearly the whole team hitting around the 90s in the passing accuracy. It's very rare.
It's kind of the point I touched on at the start when actually, although I think a lot of people saw us being a bit pedantic and boring, I actually thought we were really sharp today in terms of everyone playing at a high level. It's just not easy to create a million chances against a team like that. The one thing I would say is we actually got to the byline and played neat football to get behind a very packed in team extremely well. I mean, Shaw had 3 or 4 pullbacks that people should have done much better for. Greenwood had a few flashed across. Dan James had a few flashed across. And that's the kind of football I've been dying to see. But Imran's absolutely right. I mean, no one was there for any of them. And the one time someone was in Rashford, he missed what should be an easy header to get on target. But just creating those kind of chances, I think we've seen for so long a complete lack of that. We've often bemoaned the fact that we just never play to the byline. We never try and get in behind teams, even when they're packed in, with that kind of quick interplay. And today I thought we did a pretty good job of it. I mean, I think if you get to the byline, with space around you, sort of 7 or 8 times in a game, and you're able to put in crosses, you should be creating at least a goal or 2 from that. And maybe the movement needs worked on, definitely, but to me that's still a very positive sign because that's where the football needs to go.
Yeah, and that is the only thing that's lacking then. Like you said, when Daniel James does a good cross across 6-yard box and there's nobody anywhere near it, then you're asking questions of where is Rashford, where is Greenwood? Somebody has got to be somewhere like getting close to that.
He's not even have to be like he put in a cross that was not a great cross, and Fabianski
palmed it out,
flappy handskid it. And you're like, if you've just got anyone anywhere near that, then you can just tap it in. So it's just gambling. I just think we don't gamble enough when balls coming across. So yeah, there was one right before the corner we scored from. I think that was when Greenwood had his, and it was going to go to Rashford at the top. But Bruno was just kind of ambling to like the 12-yard. I'm just saying, like, run, try get in front of your man. You can knock it in, but no.
Yeah, no. One of the other quirks of this game was that we made no substitutions, and I don't know, people who.
Ollie hates subs.
If you're one of our Red Cafe listeners, then there is a thread on there that gets bumped every few weeks called Make a Fecking Sub Ole thread, basically. And every couple of weeks, somebody bumps that thread. And yeah, today is the first time, credit actually to Oshwin, who had the knowledge that, Jose back in 2018 versus Juventus, that's the last time we haven't made any subs. And that was even weirder that day because we were losing 1-0 and he still didn't make any substitutions. Today there's a bit more of an argument that he's just trying to hold it. He doesn't want to give away any kind of possession anywhere, change anything, unbalance anything. And as well, as we've talked about, there wasn't that many options on the bench. The last...
I think the only viable one would have been Ahmad for James or something at about 60 minutes.
Yeah, Ahmad for James.
But I think
you might have said...
You wouldn't bring him on for the last 10
if you want to give somebody a rest, Matic comes in, I don't know.
James had his best chances after the 60 minutes. I mean, there was the breakaway where there was like 8 people on 3 and James passed it behind Bruno, which was awful. But aside from that, he actually picked up some good spaces and actually was able to dribble the ball, whereas I thought for the previous 60 minutes, James was pretty anonymous throughout the entire game. And actually when it opened up, and he's going to be diligent so much more than I think Ahmad probably would defensively. I actually thought from Ole it was the correct decision. Looking at that bench, I think it was fraught with risk, really, making any kind of change. I mean, we've also seen in recent games.
Yeah, the only one you would do was a time wasting
maybe,
one,
yeah,
wouldn't you?
maybe, but there wasn't a whole pile of injury time
against Everton, didn't it?
I don't think.
Well,
maybe
I would have
right
actually said Ahmad for Rashford, because it was around like 75th minute. There was a corner, and you could see both Rashford and Bruno are like reaching down, feeling like, I think
honestly,
Bruno
Nick,
at his knee.
they're literally
Rashford
I appreciate
on his
Rashford.
But, I mean,
appreciate Rashford plays through injury a shocking amount, but also he feels an injury every single game, and I don't necessarily know that the two are connected. He will see after a slide tackle or anything, he'll always kind of get up and feel his ankle or feel his calf or feel his thigh or rub his back. I think that's kind of just a Rashfordism, to be honest, and I appreciate he does play injured quite a lot, but you can't. It's not every single game. I think it's just kind of something he does sometimes, to be honest. But I'm not saying he's not injured at the moment. But I just think you're throwing him in. That's a very tricky game to throw people in. And also, Ole's been bitten with like bringing on Tuanzebe to instantly give away a free kick, concede a goal. Sometimes changing it is just unnecessary. 5 minutes at the end of the game is not a rest. 20 minutes at the end of the game is barely a rest in terms of recovery. It's not going to make a whole pile of difference, I don't think. Particularly if you can give them a rest midweek. But that's the big question, as to whether he can actually do that or not.
Yeah, I mean, just for the stats books, you go back to 2012 in the league versus Liverpool for when's the last time we haven't made a substitution in a Premier League game. So yeah, it's a long time going back there. But yeah, one for Ole to get in the record books as well. But look,
it did mean we only had 3 minutes injury time, so that was a bonus. And then Atkinson amazingly blew up when they had a corner, which was hilarious because I don't know why he's done that. Maybe because he's a shit ref. I appreciated it, but absolutely ridiculous. I'd have been fuming if I was a West Ham fan.
It happened to us a couple of weeks ago, I think, where we were kind of like just like progressing into someone's final third, and they just blew up when we needed a goal. I was like, "Are you literally serious?"
We were on the counter against. Was it Liverpool? We were on the counter against them.
I think it was.
And,
I think you're right.
They blew up on half time. So yeah, very officious.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, anyway, as we all say, the 3 points is the important thing, puts us in a good position in the league. And then, yeah, we've got the straight turnaround. Thursday night, we go out to Milan for the second leg. We didn't record after the first leg the other day. And yeah, as you said, Colm, it was a very disappointing, obviously, end to the game. First goal we've conceded in weeks and weeks, and an absolute killer at that time of the day. I mean, do have to give a good shout out to Ahmad for coming in and making a difference. There's been a lot of kind of hype around him, but kind of almost in a tongue-in-cheek kind of way. But he actually came in, and everybody was saying, boy wonders here, he's going to Ballon d'Or win or whatever, and he actually came on and bloody scored, which was just writing his own script for himself, which was beautiful to see, and getting on the end of one of those Bruno balls. But it just shows you that, like, even at 18 years of age, he's not overawed by this. He came straight in, got his goal, has made the difference, and yeah, there is definitely something about him. Then I know we had actually had a question out on Twitter from our old friend Langster, who was saying, do we need to still be looking at the likes of Sancho now that Ahmad's coming in? And for me, I said, look, it's early days to get too excited. All right, he's 18 years old, he's done well, but yeah, maybe there is something then to think about there. See how many more chances he gets. I mean, all right, he didn't have that much time to play in the game to show him what over there, but yeah, you do feel something that's coming off him, right, Colm?
Yeah, definitely. Although, I get why Langster's getting carried away 100%. I think we all are. His dribbling looks incredible. He's just too young. He needs to be treated delicately. I thought it was a fantastic goal. It was shades of Hernandez. It was a brilliant header, great little run. Ball from Bruno after being pretty awful all game was spectacular, which is classic Bruno. And he's definitely good enough. I mean, you just don't pay that money for someone for no reason, and also have him come to the club and so quickly ingratiate himself into the first team squad. I thought the celebration from Eric Bailly was one of the highlights of the season, maybe, which I just think is class. Lovely to see players, particularly players who've had, the kind of life that I imagine Ahmad has had. I mean, his story is incredible, but to come and be clearly so welcomed and to have that connection through Bailly and stuff, I think is brilliant. And yeah, it's going to be amazing to see him. I'm very excited already for kind of like, pre-season or next season where you hope he'll be bedded in even more. But I would 100% still buy Jadon Sancho in the summer. We need a world-class right winger next season. And Ahmad might
Well,
be that, but there'll be no harm in him playing second fiddle to someone like Sancho. It's better than playing second fiddle to Dan James, because that's not really going to help you out too much, I don't think.
yeah, I mean, we've got 0 right wingers, so it'd be nice to have 2.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, I don't know. You say that, then all of a sudden now Dan James has decided he can play on the right. We do also have, but yeah, at the moment, not much to go off there. But yeah, Facundo Palestri is out on loan at Alaves, and I do keep having a look at him, and he is getting game time at least. So to play over there is something. Although, yeah, I don't think they're such a great team, so it's difficult to read into that much over there. But yeah, look, the main talking point of that Milan game obviously is that late goal. That's just an absolute killer for everything. I actually think that there's been too much criticism personally of Henderson for that goal. Like, he can do better for sure, but I don't think it's like a howler in any way. I mean, you've been massively critical, Colm, of David De Gea and was been itching for Henderson to get in the team.
Yeah.
So how did you see that goal?
Well, the first thing I'll say is, Henderson has played something like 8 games for us now and kept 6 clean sheets. Don't know if those are exactly correct, but something like that. He's only conceded in 2 games, 2 goals and 1 goal. I did think it was a howler. I'm not gonna lie to you. I thank you for being kind to my favourite player, Dean Henderson, but I did think it was a howler. The ball, comes off Jar's head, or however you call that fella. It's pretty quick. It does come at him quickly. I get that, but this kind of falling backwards into your own net to throw your arm at it in this kind of spectacular fashion, I think, is something that has crept into the goalkeeping game in terms of a style save more than just what actually needs to happen. Because I'm quite confident that if Henderson just stood where he was, it would have hit his face, and he actually could have just put his arms up and caught it quicker than it would take you to throw yourself backwards and take an arm from your shin and throw it up in a semicircle motion over your head. It doesn't look like a natural way to save. Perhaps that's me being unkind, and Goalkeepers Union can tell me that that's actually, when the ball comes at you that quickly, that's the best way to go for it. But no, I thought it was poor. It doesn't, it doesn't. I was disappointed for him and disappointed that we'd not gotten a sort of a scabby win. But ultimately, I thought they dominated us pretty handily. I thought their hard-working midfield did a lot more work than ours, and we never really looked really up for it. But I'm pretty sure Henderson will be grand. We had a very quiet day today, which I'm sure he'll take confidence from. But I thought he could do much better with that save, to be honest. But I think there's other people culpable as well. Us putting ourselves in that position, just being quite poor all game, and then you have McTominay and Matic, I think it was McTominay and Matic, who are both pretty culpable for the actual set piece as well.
A definite howler from me. He can do a million things better than he did. I mean, and if he's going to dive like that, he has to have a stronger hand and tip it over. Like the fact that his hand was pretty much
De Gea probably dives like
that,
but does tip it over. I'm quite happy to say
exactly.
That. And even that kind of save would annoy me, because I'd always sit and think, you don't have to do it like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's almost a Hollywood thing where it's like one for the cameras kind of thing. But I'm pretty sure De Gea would save that, to be honest. But I'd still rather have Henderson starting.
If it's straight at you like that, really, you should be saving it. And it wasn't very high, so yeah, you should be saving that every time. But it's just going back to our frailty from set pieces. We've conceded something. I think it's 12 goals, either directly or indirectly, from set pieces this season, which is a crazy amount.
Yeah, even today,
I don't have any stats of other clubs.
They didn't really have that many set pieces, but when they did have, I was like pretty sure it was dangerous territory. Like,
yeah, no.
Well, to be fair, we didn't talk about Maguire, and Maguire was excellent today. I thought his big head was fantastic.
A few big blocks as well.
Yeah, he had a great game. But yeah, look, going back to that goal, as you said, Com, it is actually Matic loses his man in the box.
Mm-hmm.
McTominay does not jump on the front post, which is where Kjaer ends up after losing Matic. And then, the ball comes in very fast from a crowded box to Henderson. He can definitely do better. And I always go to the goalie of our five-a-side team on these kind of things and say, listen, what's the opinion over here? So the official goalkeeper's union opinion was, he said, Henderson is slightly mispositioned to save something like that because he's a yard off his line, and so he's just not planted in the right way to save something like that. Basically, a ball coming towards the top of the net. He said, if he's on his line, he saves it with no problem. That's why he ends up with this kind of backward, and it looks bad. It definitely looks bad, which is why he's getting a lot of criticism. But yeah, look, at the same time, for me, there's as much criticism to the likes of Matic and McTominay for that header coming in, and it is actually a really good header as well. You have to give some credit to the run and head from from Kjaer at that point. But yeah, there is criticism due to Henderson, but I think it's gone a bit over the top because I've seen loads of people now saying, "Oh, when is De Gea back?" And
Well,
he
yeah, I
needs
think
to
that's
come straight back in the team. And
to
in
be
fact, De
fair,
Gea is back in training since tomorrow. I think if he passes a COVID test, he will be back in training tomorrow. And then there is a thing on who is going to play on Thursday. I mean, I'm assuming Colm, you want to stick with Dean, right?
well, on Thursday, see, it's tough now because there's no league games. These are two until after the international break, so you probably can't read in too much to either. I expect probably Henderson to start one of them, and then De Gea, probably Henderson against Milan and De Gea against Leicester. It'd be interesting if De Gea came back, if the test is okay and he can play against Milan. I think that would be a clear message from Ole, because that's a make or break game, and Henderson's maybe made a small mistake in the first leg, so that would be Ole saying, no, I need my number one. And that would give us an insight into where Ole is with it. But I do hope it's Henderson. I don't think he deserves to be dropped, but I absolutely expect De Gea to regain his position as soon as he's able, basically.
Well, that is the question mark, because now, Ole does have that chance. Henderson has had the game time. He's done pretty well. There has, like I said, been a couple of mistakes in the game he's played. I think back to that Sheffield United game where he had a proper howler. That's why this one I don't call in that howler territory. Like I say, he could have done better. But yeah, that was when he made an absolute mess of it. I mean, personally, I remember saying at the start of the season, I thought that De Gea would start in net. I thought when he made mistakes, Henderson would get a chance, and that by the end of the season, Henderson would be our first choice keeper. Ole seems to have been a lot more loyal to De Gea this season than I expected. So yeah, I'm not sure myself where it's going to go over here. So I mean, Imran, Colm thinks De Gea will come back to take his number one spot. Where do you think it's going to go?
Definitely De Gea. De Gea, all they've shown is very loyal to De Gea, and he'll stick by him through whatever's happening.
Until the summer at least, and actually, I think it'll be beyond that.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think these last few games were Henderson's auditions for next season as opposed to this season. I do think De Gea might leave in the summer, especially like with a kid, and maybe they want to move back to Spain, whatever. But I think it was more whether Henderson be our number one next year, and I actually think he might be. I actually think we have to reinforce in other areas so much more that I think Henderson might be our number one next season. But I think for the rest of this season, De Gea will definitely be number one. But Henderson will still get his cup games and whatever else.
Yeah, it will be interesting.
What I will say on this game is I was annoyed that we conceded at the end. Like, obviously I'm annoyed we conceded a goal, but really it doesn't change that much for Italy. I don't think, because I would never see us getting a 0-0 anyway.
What, even though we've had like a record number of 0-0s recently?
Yeah, but no, you think about most of our 0-0s come because the opposition can't be asked scoring either. So all in all our big games, like the ones that we've drawn 0-0, Chelsea, Arsenal, City at home, Liverpool, our opposition have barely shown an interest in scoring a goal. Same with Palace, like there was no interest from them scoring a goal. AC Milan, obviously, if we won 1-0 up, would have to score a goal, and yeah, you could say, well, then we can catch them on the counter or whatnot. But we actually have to play well to do that. But I just think if we are set up to defend, we're not gonna keep them out. It's even today, like West Ham, what attacking intent? Yeah, we keep a clean sheet, but I mean, big whoop.
Yeah.
It was West Ham and they did nothing.
Did they have a shot on target?
I think I don't think so. They had the big chance with Bowen, but it was offside when he didn't need to be. So yeah, I think it doesn't change a great deal. In fact, it makes it at least we have to go and actually show some intent and score a goal. So, and at that point, then it's the same, isn't it?
But then do you expect them to come in and sit in and think, here we're all right? It's that kind of odd thing where you'd rather go into the game knowing what you need sometimes, because when you can play for a 0-0,
they now actually need 0-0 and we'll win on away goals.
Does that change how you play? Sometimes then that can be a negative thing, but also obviously if no one scores, they go through. But I just think we can hardly play as badly as we did, and whilst Milan were the better team and kind of dominated us, it wasn't like I didn't think we were ever in fear of being blown away. Like I really do think if we play even pretty well, we should win. So that's how I kind of feel.
But we should have scored. We missed 2 open goals.
Yeah.
I mean, Milan's prep for this game has been bad. They've lost today 1-0 to Napoli. We already knew that Zlatan was injured, and then their Portuguese striker Leao got injured, was then replaced up front by Croatian Rebic, who got a red card. So it hasn't gone well for them today at all. But yeah, I do think that now they've kind of almost conceded the league like we have. So maybe they're going to actually put a lot more importance into this Europa League game now. And look, we'll have to see. Look, it's never going to be easy going away in Italy. But yeah, we were all pretty disappointed by that performance, and still we should have really won 1-0. And let's see. I assume we can do a bit better.
More than that, Maguire missed the bloody literally harder when it was easier to score.
There's just a few things I'd like to tidy up before the end of this podcast. That Maguire miss is genuinely unfathomable. I mean, of all the ways that ball can possibly strike his leg, 99% of them end up with it going in the net, and he still managed to avoid that, which is miraculous. He's taking his desire to not score goals for us to all new heights. It's unbelievable. And the other one is Armand Bissaka not being able to play football today in any way, shape or form. That's the only other thing I want to mention, other than Luke Shaw being an absolute legend. But Wan-Bissaka today on the ball, Christ, so bad. It was so bad.
It was bad, but he's also top of the list. I mean, forgetting Maguire, who plays every bloody game for the whole of history. Wan-Bissaka is next on the list of the players who played way too many minutes this season.
I get that. And that's, it is a symptom of tiredness and just fatigue in general. I do get that. I do have some sympathy for him, and I actually don't think we're going to rush to strengthen it right back either, or even provide backup. So unless it's Ethan Laird coming back or something like that, but I do feel for him in that sense. I think that is an absolutely fair cop. But it doesn't matter. How does a professional footballer get to the level he's at being that bad in terms of passing and touch? It is genuinely mystifying to me.
He's not always as bad. He was very off today. He
was decent. He was decent in the press and defensively. I thought he was okay, apart from one silly slide tackle for that yellow. I thought he won the ball high up the pitch quite a lot, which was great. But it's just so bad on the ball.
No, he does have bad again. But for me, again and again, I just can't understand why now and again, whether it's Tuanzebe, whether it's Williams, they're just even half an hour, 20 minutes, give the guy some kind of rest. I
just think Ole sees him as so vital defensively.
Yeah,
I think there's a case with Wan-Bissaka that I feel like often in not big games, he just isn't as switched on, and he just takes his foot off a little bit, and then it kind of shows in his performance. I never doubt him when it comes to, say, City, but then again, it's a different game for him, isn't it, when he's playing City?
The difference is, does he have the ball or does he not have the ball? That's literally the difference. Is he playing with the ball or without the ball? And if he's playing without the ball, he's unbelievable.
No responsibility whatsoever.
If he's playing with the ball, he's desperate, and that is just the way it goes, which means in 60 to 70% of games, he'd probably not be that great.
Yeah, and like I say, for me, there is a massive issue of just him having to take some time out there. And the worst thing is, if he gets an injury, then whoever who comes in hasn't had any games and is all of a sudden thrown in. That's why I still do have this big issue about Ole's general kind of squad management, giving people rest and things like that. And look, we're going to see it. Same again next week. We're going to play Milan. We'll then play Leicester, who won't have played midweek and are in decent form in the FA Cup. Hopefully we will come back after that Milan game and do a bit of more chat about that Leicester game. But yeah, like I said, they don't have a midweek game because they've gone out of Europa League, so we'll be totally fresh for that FA Cup match, which will be big for both teams going off over there. But yeah, I think hopefully we will come back for that. Before we move on, I mean, for all those who are always waiting for that, I think Imran does have a stupid game for us today. But before we go on to that, there has been some kind of big news in the background, in the board level of the club. We've been waiting for this for, I would say, months, maybe years, talk about director of football and a bit of a kind of shake-up. In the end, there's been kind of 2 internal appointments, and there's been a lot of kind of really mixed response to this. John Murtaugh, who's a name that I think maybe a lot of people will not know, even though he's been at the club for a long time, now becomes they're actually calling it football director, not director of football. And I don't know whether that's a purpose kind of thing to just say it's not exactly the same thing or what exactly. And at the same time, Darren Fletcher has been given a promotion. He only came in, I think it was, 6 months ago, maybe even less. He was promoted to one of the first team coaches. Now he's been given the title of a technical director. What exactly that means, I'm not entirely sure, but we'll see. I mean, I don't know. What were your guys' kind of first thoughts about this? As I say, way, I've seen there's a lot of fallout with people saying, "Oh, this is just a joke of an appointment," because they were expecting, I don't know, Van der Sar or some other big name coming in. Various names had been linked, and to bring in people internally, people said, "Look, these are just Glazer puppets, just for like moving seats around in the club. Nothing's going to change." I mean, first of all, I'm unsure, but I'll say, look, let's give some time. I think I've talked a lot myself about how I think Ole has done a lot of good job work in the background to restructure things, and how there has been signs of better decisions made on transfers. It's not often been a problem about the player coming in, but there has been issues of transfers being done too late and waiting too long and things like that. So there has been disappointment there. But I think the actual selection of players has not been such a problem as it had been in the past. And apparently we hear that, a lot of credit for that goes to the likes of John Murtaugh, who focuses a lot on the kind of data science of things, looking at all the statistics, and has been credited as well with helping a lot of academy players come through. They're talking about the likes of Rashford, McTominay, Mason, apparently have all been ones who've been identified as him as ones who should be making the move up. I mean, another reason some people don't like him is because he was a guy who was brought to the club by David Moyes originally. So he's been around for a long time. I mean, Imran, did you know much about him before he's been announced as this big promotion?
No, never heard of him, to be honest with you. But I mean, it's a step in the right direction, I guess. I mean, in theory, it gets Woodward away from transfers, which I'm happy with. And it creates that position, I guess. So if he fails, then someone else technically gets that position, right? And he's not a Woodward boy because he came in from Moyes, so I guess that ticks that box. But I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. It's really hard to judge with these background roles because A, you don't know what exactly he will be doing, what he won't be doing.
Yeah.
And B, we haven't seen him do it yet. So we just have to wait and see, don't we?
I find the Fletcher promotion quite odd and impressive. I mean, he clearly made an impression, or they're just literally putting figureheads in positions, which is not impossible, but I choose not to take that sceptical view that a lot of United fans have kind of leapt to over this week. I've always been very impressed with Darren Fletcher when he speaks about football and stuff like that, and obviously he was a fantastic player and served for the club, but he just seems like a very decent and switched on fella. So hopefully there is some acumen there that they've seen and wanted to promote to a more kind of broad scope level at the top. But I mean, I agree with you, Nick. I think under Ole there has been a continual positive trajectory in terms of the running of the club off the football pitch. I think that's been patently obvious in terms of youth progression, in terms of youth acquisition, the kind of young players that we've brought to the club. That seems like a very deliberate kind of ploy that we're going for, that I know a lot of people will be very happy about in terms of the kind of talent we're attracting to the club at certain age groups. And also just the transfers. I don't think they're all been perfect by any means, but it's a definite improvement. And even the like of contract management and kind of, whilst we not be absolutely delighted with some of the penny pinching and some of the time it takes to complete the deals is still a big issue. I think I think Van der Beek's the only one that really causes me any concerns now. Even Wan-Bissaka I'm happy enough to have, even though I don't think he's our future at right back. And Van der Beek might prove that wrong. So I think there's in all those kind of transfer committee general future paving for the club, I think there's been massive improvements. So the kind of clamour for a director of football, I think, was becoming slightly unnecessary, but it is nice to see that we've created those positions. I just don't think it'll ultimately mean much, because things will just continue as they are until Ole is either, I think, replaced or someone new with possibly bigger demands comes in.
Well, I think that is exactly what's happened. That under Ole, things have kind of changed and evolved anyway in the background on how he thinks things should have been done. And there has been a big change. As we understand it, there's always been this kind of transfer committee. And that is actually something that Moyes brought in. We go way back that Alex Ferguson was obviously had a big hand in transfers, selecting players, even negotiating deals all the way back. But that's the kind of old school manager who used to be involved in everything. They were the coach, they picked the team, they actually sat down with players to negotiate contracts. They were even selecting investing in players. Whereas nowadays things have moved on, and a lot of clubs have a bit more of a modern system where maybe there's one guy who's in charge of transfers, and then there's another guy who's just told, look, you're actually the coach, you're not the manager. That's the difference. Like in the old days, he was the manager, and he had so much more responsibility. Basically, was in charge of the whole football side. And when Fergie's gone, I think that's been part of the reason why we've had such a mess for so much time, that the structure of the club was not particularly right for how a lot of clubs are run nowadays. So yeah, look, maybe now we are at least, like you say, I think Imran, you said, pushing things forward to how other clubs are structured. But yeah, Ole is involved there. The way I understand it is that, yeah, Myrtle will be in charge of our whole kind of scouting network. He'll be in charge of the whole kind of data side of it, which is a big thing now in selecting players, looking at stats, looking at everything like that. And yeah, he'll work with all those guys to come up with potential transfers, but that Ole has the right to say no to anyone at any point. Fletcher, I'm not entirely sure what his role is going to be yet. The way I kind of understand it is he's going to be in charge of the kind of football philosophy of the club, all through the club, like making sure players, even like at academy level and under 23, are all playing to the same kind of system that the first team are, which should make their kind of transition through the levels much easier. And then also looking at where players go on loan, whether they need to go on loan and things like that. Although, yeah, I did see Ole say that he will also be involved in the kind of transfer process as well. So that'll be interesting. I mean, I've even seen a couple of people suggest that maybe he might even be a bit involved on the negotiation side, because I think, we've often felt that's where we fell down. And there's this guy, Matt Judge, who's not been and he's not a football guy. He's come from our kind of legal department and is the one who's always sent as our chief negotiator. There's been, and I think Patrick Evra would actually mentioned him in a very critical interview not too long ago, and mentioned him by name as one of the problems in the kind of boardroom of the club, and said that, he'd spoken to sporting directors at other clubs who said it was very difficult to deal with United because of people like that who are not football people and didn't understand how things should be done in football. So yeah, I've heard that from several kind of angles. So yeah, but he will continue to be our chief negotiator on transfers. That is not going to change. So yeah, that is the kind of worry of, the things where we've had problems. What difference is it actually going to make? But as we say, yeah, only time will tell. And I'm personally on Fletcher and really happy to see more players who know United, who know the club come in, because my criticism before has been that not enough football people are involved in these kind of decision-making things. And you look at other clubs, whether it's like Bayern Munich and things like that, where a lot of ex-players are involved in this kind of, the more boardroom and business side of the club. And for me, that is only a good thing. So I want to see people like that more involved. And yes, I'm happy to see it. But yeah, we'll have to see, give them a chance, see what difference it makes going forward. I think, yeah, that kind of covers most of our things for this week. Before we move on to Imran's stupid game, do want to give a shout out to Manscaped, who are, going to continue to sponsor us. So thanks to them. Thanks to all of our listeners as well who've used the code and bought out there. It has actually made a big difference for us. Helps to keep the podcast going and, cover costs and things like that. Any of you who listen regularly will know what exactly Manscaped do. In case you're a first-time listener, just a shout, Manscaped just actually launched relatively recently in UK and EU, but been going for quite a while over in America. They're focused completely on grooming tools and famous for their below-the-belt grooming. The package that they're kind of pushing at the moment that you should go and check out online is called the Perfect Package. It includes their lawnmower shaver. I know, Imran, you've had a lot of success with this, right? And I know you told us that your wife in particular has been super happy with that.
Yeah, she just wishes I cut my hair now. Because everything else, very trim. Hair, not so much.
Yeah. I've only had like one haircut in like literally the last year, because just before everything was locked down, I was like due a haircut. But yeah, I don't know if you would use any of this Manscaped stuff for your actual hair. I know they say you should keep things for various areas, and you don't want to start mixing what you're using down below with on your head.
Hey, it's such good quality that I might even try it. If I ever go skinhead, it'll be the razor I use, because it's a fantastic razor, so why not?
Yeah, that lawnmower, like I say, it's impressive piece of kit, ceramic blade, and all the kind of technology over there. But yeah, they're pushing it over here in the UK. Go and check it out. I know we've had a lot of their kind of blurb over here, and they're trying to tie a lot of things in with football now, because I think they're getting quite a lot of success by pushing it over here. So yeah, they say the trimmer lasts for 90 minutes and goes on for like, you can have a water break at half time if you need. So yeah, look, go and check out anyway. Manscaped.com. Use the code United Hour, helps out the pod, and yeah, actually like damn good stuff they're selling over there. So get on that. So yeah, and then I think time to move on to obviously the highlight of the show, Imran's stupid game.
A wonderful game of football in which Manchester United have won convincingly.
But it was a breathtaking match, absolutely brilliant.
Shocking. I am disgusted with it.
Thank you, Roy. Yes, Imran's stupid game. Today we will be playing Here's the dictionary definition of a footballer, Clive. That is the game. I will not tell you anything more. All you need to do is buzz in and give me the first and last name of the footballer who I'm talking about. Got it?
Yep.
Okay.
So here we go. Number 1. Adjective. Producing a sudden, piercing physical sensation or effect. Adverb. In a sudden or abrupt way. Adverb. Precisely. It's used after an expression of time. This is one
Colm.
player I'm talking about, by the way. Go on.
Lee Sharp.
Correct. Lee Sharp. Well done, Colm.
Thank you. Are these all United
Nick,
players?
do you know what? Yeah, these are all United players, so that's kind of the game.
Gotcha.
They'll all be United players, and first name and last name, please. Nick, do you know what's happening now?
Yeah, just about. I had no idea until when he said the answer, it all became clear.
You're welcome.
Right. Number 2. Noun. A combustible black or dark brown rock found mainly
Nick.
in underground
Colm.
seams. Nick.
Andy Cole.
Damn.
Andy Cole is correct. 1-1. Number 3. Noun. Chance or luck as an arbitrary force affecting human affairs.
Colm.
Go on.
Quentin Fortune.
Correct,
Nice,
Colm. Well done.
nice.
2-1. Well done. Someone's been reading the dictionary. Number 4. Verb. Make or become, typically by cooking. Noun. A thing of it, e.g., the ball in snooker. Adjective. Produced by mixing red, yellow, and blue.
What?
It's produced by mixing red, yellow, and blue. Time's up. It's Wes Brown.
Oh,
Yes, Brown.
fair enough.
That was a gettable one, guys. Still 2-1 Colm. Okay, this one's a bit difficult. So, apologies in advance. Noun. A small tropical African tree which bears oil nuts from which a butter is obtained.
Nick.
Go on.
John O'Shea.
Correct, John
Oh,
O'Shea.
nice,
Nick's
nice.
been using his shea butter on his
Nice.
face, and we know it. That's why he's got such smooth skin. Right. Number 6. That's 2-all, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yep, 2-all. Number 6. Verb. Treat by heating, hammering, or forging. Noun. A worker in metal.
Mm.
A worker in metal. It's a job. Nope. Give you a quick countdown.
Colm.
Go on.
Alan Smith.
Alan Smith, well done.
Okay, yeah.
3-2 Colm. Yeah, well done. Right. Number 7. Adjectif. La couleur comme celle des ou de la crée ou de la cum entre autres. I apologise to all our French listeners. Adjective. Used euphemistically in place of another adjective regarded as obscene or profane or abusive. Noun. A cartridge containing gunpowder but no bullet, used for training.
Nick.
And go on.
Laurent Blanc.
Laurent Blanc is correct. Well done. The first one was the description of white in French.
Nice.
It wasn't French. I absolutely butchered it. But, you know. Right. It's 3-all. This is very exciting.
Many
How
have
many
you
is
got?
there? How
Many have
many
you
is
got,
there?
man?
Oh, there's 5 left.
Okay.
So we're getting there. Come on, this is riveting stuff. How
Yeah,
dare
yeah,
you?
yeah.
I
ask
just
me this one?
want to know so I can plan. It's tactics.
Right. Number 8. Adjective. Highly developed. Adjective. Having or showing eagerness or enthusiasm.
Colm.
Yep.
Roy Keane.
Roy Keane, correct. Colm takes the lead. He's in ahead by 1. Number 9. Verb. Be overprotective towards. Noun. A state often described as being very overprotective. Noun. An occupation. It's an occupation. Also being overprotective. You may hear countries referred to as this state. Nope,
Not a
time's
clue.
up.
No, not
It's
cool.
nanny.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
A nanny state.
Yeah.
It's very overprotective.
Yeah.
Yes. Right. Colm still ahead by 1. 10. Verb. Sit down. Verb. That's an informal verb, sorry. Verb. Informal. Sit down. Verb. Also informal. Postpone. Consideration of an idea or plan until a later date. That's
Colm.
postpone. Yep, go on.
I think it's.
Quite
Is
a delay there.
Is it?
Okay, come on.
Is it Ricky Delay? Delay?
No, it's not. No, it's not that. No, because that's not sit down.
Yeah.
Noun, an area devoted to a specified purpose. Noun, a large public garden or area of land used for recreation.
Colm.
Nick.
Colm just got there, but he's already
had a
answered.
guess.
So it's Nick. Yeah, it's Nick.
Ji-sung Park.
Ji-sung Park is correct. Well done. I would have gone to Colm, but I want it to keep it exciting, and we're drawing now. It's all square. 4 all. 2 more left. Verb. Support or hold up something with props or beams. Noun. The land along the edge of a sea, lake, or other large body of water.
Nick.
Go on.
Luke Shaw.
Luke Shaw is correct. Well done. Last one, Colm. You need this to send it to a tiebreaker.
Sorry, Shaw? SHAW?
Yeah.
Well,
Well, same thing.
No. All
We
the
had
others
Laurent
have
Blanc
been.
earlier. You didn't complain then.
All right, go ahead. But,
Right.
it doesn't even end with anything near the same sound.
You,
this sounds
Colm,
the
say
same.
Sure.
what? Say,
Shaw.
and then say the other thing.
Shaw.
That's just
Yeah,
the
sounds
Irish
exactly.
way.
Sure,
AW
sure,
or
sure.
ORE.
Surely it's the same thing.
To be
That
fair,
point should-
actually,
that point
first
should be
came in
rescinded.
my mind actually came Shola Shora T-Ray.
Well, that probably would have been right as
Right.
well, because basically everyone's just picking random words that kind of sound like something else. Go ahead.
Oh, come on, Colm.
Hey,
Just because you've
it
gone
works.
behind for the
Go
first
ahead,
time now.
go ahead. I hope you have
This
a
is how
tiebreaker,
competitive
Imran,
we
because
are.
this is the last question, isn't it?
There will be a tie. This is the last one. So if you get this right, it'll go to a tiebreaker. If not, Nick wins.
Go ahead.
So, noun. A device similar to a harpoon used for catching fish. Noun. A light, fast, narrow boat adapted for rowing or sailing. Noun. Informal. A job, especially one that is temporary or that has an uncertain future. And you'll get it off this one. Noun. Informal. A live performance by a musician or group.
Nick. Ryan
Nick.
Giggs.
Ryan Giggs.
Nice.
Nick is the winner. Woo!
Well played, Nick.
Oh,
Well done,
undefeated. There was a lot of pressure there. Pushed me all the way there, Colm.
I am livid.
Next time you want to know the dictionary definition of a footballer, see Nick. And that was Imran's Stupid Game.
Dreadful. Dumb and Dumber, I'd call them. I thought they were really poor. I thought they were a joke. Really.
Nice,
Abysmal.
nice. Yeah, I hope everybody enjoys the old stupid games there. Signing out shout outs again, please do check us out on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and yeah, we do still have the Patreon going. We'll have some extra stuff thrown out on there in the next couple of weeks, probably in the international break actually, when there's going to be nothing better to do. And yeah, we'll be back possibly after Milan, but definitely after Leicester.
Cheerio.
Cheers.